Hi, everyone. We are going to go back into the past yet again to one of my favorite initial uh, independent bottlers called Rum Nation. Now, I've talked about Rum Nation before in the past, and this is a company that was founded in 1999 by Fabio Rossi out of Italy. And he was probably better known for the Wilson and Morgan brand and the Millenarios, which have its own history there. I'm not going to go into that. But for the longest while, in the first, say, 5 or 10 years, the man put out some really incredible rums from both Jamaica, called the Supreme Lord series, and the old Demerara rums, which are, to my mind, some of the best rums made by independents that have ever been issued. And they're probably on par with some of the Velliers, if somewhat more limited in focus. So one of the things let's just go into the presentation first, because I really like this one a lot. It looks like just a standard bottle, 1985. It's a 23-year-old. It comes from 2008. It's been bottled at 43%. But look at this thing that it comes into, like an actual wooden thing, a wooden case with jute sacking inside and, wooden slide. I mean, the presentation is absolutely first rate. At the time, when I first got this in about 2011, 2012, I'd never seen anything like it. And it was interesting enough for me to take a look at it. And over the years, I think there's about 6 of these Demeraras in this case that are in existence before they switched to a different kind of bottling. And then they went with a bit more of a carafe style, whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I loved it. I bought as many of them I could. The first ones that were done are almost impossible to find now except on auction sites. And even then, you're going to pay an arm and a leg for them. I think I bought the number 3 in the series from, I think it was 1982, a few years ago, and I actually haven't had a chance to really go into that in really depth. But let's stick with this one. So Fabio never actually said which still made the rum, but from my mind, this is Port Morant. And again, I have to make this disclosure. I really do like Port Morant better than most of the other Demerara rums out there, although the French Saval still does some really incredible work as well. As far as I'm aware, it was aged partially in Guyana and partially in Europe. How much in each, I really couldn't say. 15 years in ex-bourbon casks, and then, and this is not mentioned on the bottle anywhere, another 8 years in Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. And that, to me, is what elevates this rum above so many others that I've tried over the years. I really don't need to tell you anything more about it except to express my enthusiasm for it, and I'll tell you why. Wow. All right. So first of all, it's deep. The nose is just luscious to a fault. It's pungent. It has a little bit of rubber, a little bit of salt, a little bit of acetones. There is a certain amount of plasticine and fresh plastic, that you strip off of your couch or something. It's got a lot of leather and smoke in it. But beyond that, you're also going to get some very, very nice molasses and caramel notes into it. Very, very rich. And following on that, if you wait long enough, you're going to smell a lot of heavy fruits, just the redolent of the Port Morant style. And this is why I think it is a Port Morant. And even though I have no direct evidence for it, there's some licorice in there. There's some sawdust, woody notes, vanilla. All those fruits just don't go away. The thing, for 43%, at the time, I thought that was actually quite strong back in 2012 when I first reviewed it. But now it's just like standard strength almost, but it is so delicious. And when you taste it, 23 years old, and this thing goes down so easy, so nice. It tastes of licorice, it tastes of caramel, there's a little bit of salt, a little bit of sweet, just enough. Soy sauce, miso soup, leather, cardboard, soggy biscuits, cookies, oatmeal cookies with raisin insides, that kind of thing. There's a mustiness to it when you taste it that reminds me a little bit of the Samaroli 1948 Caribbean rum. At the time, I didn't really understand what it was I was trying, but this thing has some of that same vibe to it, and I can't say enough good things about that. So overall, this is a rum that I scored back in the 89.5%. I haven't got a clue why I would put that extra 0.5% in, but for my money now, all these years later, trying it again after having had so many rums, this is a Guyanese rum from 1985 that absolutely deserves to crack 90. And I think it is one of the best rums in my collection that I ever bought. I'm so happy I got it. There isn't much left of it, but if anybody ever comes by my house and they ask, hey, Lance, can I try that Rum Nation one? Guys, you're welcome to try it and see whether your opinion is the same as mine. I'm going to leave it there for now because I'm trying to keep my reviews shorter rather than longer, which is very difficult to do given how I speak. But I just want to reiterate that these older rums from Guyana in particular, and of course Jamaica and the other islands as well, shed a light into the way that rums used to be made back in the day. And of course, the production techniques have changed over time, and they're no longer the same as they were. And the Port Morants of today are a little bit more elegant, perhaps, and a little bit stronger. They tend to be at cask strength. But it's worth it every now and then to go back into the past and try some of these if you can possibly get them. And whether it's through a sample sharing network, whether you buy one at auction, or whether you actually find something from some one of these companies like Nobilis or, the Colors of Rum or whatever that managed to pick up barrels from share that are dated back from the 80s and the 90s. I mean, you really should try them just to see how the Demerara profile has evolved over the years. I'm so happy I got this one. And normally, after a review of this kind, I would kind of like pour this back into my bottle so I don't lose too much. But this thing is so nice that I think I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to finish this today just to remind myself of how much I enjoyed it. That's it for today. And good luck to you in finding a bottle of this if you ever do. And if you're in my neighborhood, you know what you have to ask. Take care, everybody, and have a really nice day. Bye-bye.